everybody, this is Brian Hogue. Welcome to Chiller Chat. Yes. I'll tell you what, next Saturday is the 13-year anniversary for Chiller Chat, and we'll be having a little bit more about that as it gets a little closer to that grand occasion. But tonight, well, if you're watching it live, I don't mean literally tonight, but this Saturday night will be the 13-year anniversary of Jack Shadow as a Horror Host. Now, of course, if you're watching Stream TV right now, this is the night. So, let's see if we have any. Roger's giving me the thumbs up on here on the chat, so thank you, Roger. I'll tell you what, we had a full weekend. I started out Friday. I was a guest on Nick Babble's podcast, and he's talking about Chiller Night Theater and Chiller Chat and horror movies. So that was interesting. It was about an hour-long podcast. So as soon as that comes out, I'll make that available for everybody. I'll let you know about that when it comes out. And then on Saturday, that was pretty fun. I went to the Butler Paranormal Conference. It was their 13th annual conference, and I'm doing the 13 years on of Jack Shadow tonight, so at least as a horror host. So that's pretty cool. That was a lot of fun. Met some people, and met several of them who are going to be guests here on Chiller Chat. So we did that on Saturday. Then of course we had the shows running. Yeah. Tonight was something. Tonight we saw a new episode of Chiller Night Theater by Jack Shadow. About time the old skeletal host gets the dust brushed off and gets in front of the camera again. So that was good. All right, so tonight I'm going to tell you 13 years of Jack Shadow as host. It started out on a little show called Sleepy Hollow Theater, is what we named it at first. And then the title changed later on in 2015. 2008 started out as Sleepy Hollow Theater. And in a little bit, I'm going to show you Jack's very first intro as a horror host ever. So, and that actually debuted on May 3rd, 2008. Saturday night, May 3rd, 2008. And that's what got this all started way back when. So, 13 years. Oh boy, can you believe it? So, let's see. All right. And then, in 2015, we switched the title from Sleepy Hollow Theater into Chiller Night Theater. Now, the reason Tom says we need to find time to finish your Zoom feed setup. Yes, we do. I know this week is, I know next week would be perfect. Sometime next week would be perfect. I'm working so hard on trying to get this episode done for this Saturday night. So, but yeah, that will be great. And if you don't know what Tom's talking about, I'll show you a little clip on here. Now, this is where we are headed with Chiller Chat. Then I'll get back to Jack Shadow as a host here. But I just think this is really, really super cool. Okay, check this out. Now, this is Tom and I. This is us a couple weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago, right after we had George Garanci on talking about Ghoul World Order. Tom and I got together, and we were messing around with the capabilities, the video and audio capabilities. And this soon should be how we are able to present guests here on Chiller Chat, which is, it's come a long way. And next week we'll go into that even more when we're at our 13-year anniversary of Chiller Chat. So once again, thank you, Tom. Big help. Lots of patience. Dan says, what was the first movie? It was House on Haunted Hill. And you'll see Jack started. I didn't play the whole intro. I just played enough to kind of give you an idea of what it was like. Because even Jack's personality is a bit different. I'm still converting from a haunted house opening character to a horror host, which at that time was really a strange thing for me to be doing because I'm still in that creepy mode, and I'm used to moving around the room a lot, and there I'm confined to a chair, so I'm just moving. You see, if I've got a prop in my left hand, or a cane, or a martini glass, or even just hold, I have to be moving my hands, and so I wasn't used to that. But because even the chair itself in the haunted house, Jack would get up, he'd walk down and walk around the people. So you can see it took a little bit of transitioning to get to where you know Jack nowadays. Dale says, hello, everyone. Hey, Dale, thanks for joining us. Tom says, deal. All right, cool, cool, cool. Next week, Ghoul World Order. What's up tonight? Buzzkiller, talking zombie from Western Pennsylvania. Well, we are we're talking about the. I'll go slightly into the evolution of Chiller Night Theater and Jack Shadow being a horror host, because when this is playing on Stream TV on this Saturday night, that will be the 13-year anniversary of Jack Shadow being a horror host. So you're going to see a little bit about that. I'll go a little bit more in depth in that this Saturday night during the pre-show. So I'll show you some pictures and stuff from behind the scenes over the years. And Ghoul World Order. One of these days we'll have to have Jack Shadow as a guest on Ghoul World Order. Hey, all right. I happen to know he'll do it. So that'd be cool. All right, now this first segment I'm going to play. This was actually, this very first segment was filmed. It was actually in one of my haunted houses back in 2007. Okay, I still had everything up, and the camera crew and stuff from Venango Video, what it was called back then, came in, sat up, and we filmed some promotional stuff in April. And they were playing around with the lighting, and for this very first segment, for the intro, I think for the first couple, to be honest with you, we had the fog. We are actually using fog from the haunted house to kind of, you know, set the atmosphere. However, it wasn't probably the best choice because, as it turns out, it's a little harder to see Jack. But maybe that makes it a little creepier. So I'm going to play the very first time you see Jack as a horror host. Now, he was around a couple years prior to this in the haunted houses. But then you'll get to see this, and then I'll show the intro, the very first intro of Chiller Night Theater back in 2015. So going back to 2008, Jack's first time as a horror host, his first intro.
There are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Good evening. Welcome to Sleepy Hollow Theater. I am your host, Lord of the Dark, of ghosts and ghouls, of all things wicked, of poor lost souls. I am he known as Jack Shadow. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be alone? To be truly and utterly alone. No one else left. No more death or birth. You're the last one left. The last one on earth. What would it be like if everyone around you was suddenly gone? Perhaps a mysterious virus or an unexplained phenomenon.
All right, there you have it. Jack's very first time as a horror host, and that was Saturday, May 3rd, 2008 is when that debuted. We actually filmed that segment there, the very first segment of that episode, in April. And then the rest of it was filmed, yeah, in fact, the whole thing was filmed in April because we had to get it ready for May 3rd. I'm trying to remember this as I'm talking. Yeah, that's what happened because we were there that night. We filmed some promos for the TV station, you know, coming soon and all that. So that was a lot of fun. That was very my very first time doing anything like that. So Brian says, hello. Hey, Brian, thanks for joining us. Kevin says, sorry I missed you last Saturday night, mate. Oh, no problem, Kevin. Just glad to have you here tonight. So that was, like I said, that was Jack's first time as a host, and we were actually set up in one of Ghoul World Order. Says that was actually pretty cool. Oh, thank you, I appreciate that. And the mask that Jack had on at that time was a store bought mask. But the funny thing about that is, as soon as I started doing this stuff, they discontinued that. They discontinued that mask. So the one that is used now is this is one of them, anyways. But it's a foam latex appliance. I sculpted this on a life cast of myself, and that, you know, the thing is, it gave it a lot sleeker design, and it made it so I could see a lot better, because the other one was thicker and it was glued onto my face with spirit gum, and it was hard to see. You know, it was just hard to see. And when I'm interacting with the guests in the haunted house, I like to see a little better than what I was able to. So this was nice, and plus the mouth is able to move a lot better. So kind of taking you behind the scenes here a little bit. Hope you don't mind. Hope you don't mind. Dan says, is it harder now to get movies due to licensing and rights? It's not. It's not really. You just have to go in and do a public domain search. I do like 3 or 4. If I pick a movie, you know, I go the extra mile to make sure it's public domain. You know, the only issue is you could put a public domain on YouTube and you might still get dinged for something. You know, that's YouTube. But as far as anything else, it's not that hard if you just, you know, if you just put in a little bit of time searching it. Tom says, "Oh no, you're piercing the veil." I know. If you don't, okay, I'll just show you guys, but don't tell anybody. But that's a foam latex appliance right there, and that has worked out pretty well. So still at it. But yeah, it's been a long time. Heck, I think I was still in my 30s when we were filming those first ones. That seems so long ago. But we ran on Benanga Video, then it became WREC, and now the TV station, of course, is Stream TV, and here we are. And for years, you know, we never said who played Jack, and I thought I had so much fun with that. Because we wouldn't tell anybody. And for the first 7 years of Jack being in the haunted houses and being a horror host, it was never mentioned. I never had my name connected with his at all in the credits, nothing. So that was a lot of fun. And it was part of me wishes I could go back to that, but it was just impossible. After all the haunted houses I've done, and that character in there and people working with me, it was just too hard, you know. But it was fun those first 7 years, keeping the mystery. So, all right. So, but yeah, that's where we are with that. It was Sleepy Hollow Theater. We called it that because I had a company at the time called Sleepy Hollow Amusements Incorporated, and you know, started out doing the show, but it started out with the haunt stuff, the amusement stuff, entertainment. And it was on a road called Sleepy Hollow Drive, so I just kind of went with that, I guess, theme for a little bit. And then around 2014, I got to the point where I wanted to change the name of the show, because to me, I want to be able to, I want to be able to see the title or hear the title and know right from that what it is. And Sleepy Hollow, obviously, you're going to be thinking of a story, and I thought, well, let me pick something a little bit more old-fashioned, a little bit more 50s horror host sounding, and of course an homage to Chiller Theater from out of Pittsburgh. And so this next intro that I'll show you, this is from 2015. Again, now this let me tell you the story behind this. I was in transition here, so I really didn't have a place to film this. So what I did was, now this is back in 2015. I didn't have what I had now, technical-wise, technology-wise. So the green screen capability is really, really rough. But I didn't have a set. I literally did not have a set at that time. I did a couple shows right in front of a green screen. So did what I had to do to keep the show going. But it's very obvious, and there was nothing I could do about it. But this was the first show where we switched the name, and Chili Billy Cardell was a guest on that particular episode that night. And this was back in May, whatever the first Saturday was of that year in 2015. So it was on an anniversary show. And Dan says, thanks for keeping the horror host alive. I grew up with Zachary. Oh, wow, yeah. Now that's an old-fashioned host right there. So is Bill Chili Billy Cardell. So we'll show Jack's first intro for Chiller Night Theater. Now, this was the night we had Chili Billy on, and the night that we changed the name. So without any further hesitation, here we go.
Good evening. Welcome to Chiller Night Theater. I am your host, Jack Shadow. Tonight we have a very special show for you. How many of you back in the day watched Chiller Theater every Saturday night? In fact, this show was inspired by Chiller Theater. It's not about the quality of the creature features presented on the program. It's about the experience itself. Perhaps you and your family huddled around on a Saturday night with your popcorn and snacks, watching a Chiller movie. This is what many of you experienced year after year watching Chiller Theater. Tonight I am pleased and honored to present Chiller Theater's host, Bill Chili Billy Cardell, as a very special guest, who will be visiting later on in the show. And what better way to commemorate this event than to revise the show, changing the name to Chiller Night Theater, and featuring the very first movie that appeared on Chiller Theater in 1963, The Brain from Planet Arus. So settle in and pull that blanket up around you tight. Get ready for The Brain from Planet Arus.
And there you have it. So you got to see the very first intro, or at least part of it. That was a really rather lengthy intro for the first one for Sleepy Hollow Theater's House on Haunted Hill. But then there of course, was the intro to the first Chiller Night Theater episode. So, like I said, been doing this for a while, and then, you know, I should have pulled up the very first intro for the one that we did with Stream TV, actually in the studio. That would have been a good one. Maybe this Saturday night I'll show maybe a minute of that. But no, it's been a lot of fun over the years, and now we have evolved to, you know, really cool looking graphics there. Let me get a bigger picture. There we go. Yeah, and Ava, she's been with me since the very beginning. She, of course, is the witch there, Aura the witch. And Samantha, she's there in the red. She's Elvon Knock the Vampire. Sam's character started on about, I'm guessing maybe 2009 or 2010. So she's been with us for quite a while. And her character evolved from a zombie to a vampire. Don't ask me how. It just did. It just did, by golly. Ava's sending me hearts and a toasting champagne glass. Oh, thank you, baby. And Ghoul World Order said, he signed my Night of the Living Dead poster. Oh, Chili Billy. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Ghoul World Order says, is that a mask or your real face? It looks real. I have a feeling you're a ghoul disguised as a human. That's right. Who is wearing the mask? Is it Jack or is it me? Or is it a little bit of both? Never know. Lasercorn says, I finally made it, yet for another riveting episode of Chiller Chat. All right, Lasercorn, glad to have you with us. All right, you're on, sorry, one of our YouTube viewers. Yeah, I just thought I would take this episode here and just show you a little bit of the stuff from the very first episode where Jack was a horror host, and then show you a little bit of the evolution. Now on Saturday night's pre-show, I'll show you more behind-the-scene pictures throughout the I guess evolution of the show. Again, Jack started out in a haunted house. You know, it's like the gatekeeper character. You know, the greeter, I guess you could say. He would be the one giving a speech and then ushering the guests into the horrors beyond. So that's how he started out. And then when I was asked to be the horror host, because that wasn't going to be my part in that. I just wanted to be on the other side of the camera and just and you know, editing, producing, and I wanted to do that stuff. I didn't, you know, and I was asked if Jack Shadow would be the host. And again, you know, it wasn't a condition of whether the station would play the show, but they did bring up a good question there, and it got me thinking, like, I don't know, I hadn't even thought of using him as the host, and I said, oh, let me get back to you on that, as I had to give it a lot of thought, because first of all, Jack's character, you know, his personality in the haunted house was a lot different than what you see on the show. It really was a lot different, and a lot more creepy and sinister, you know, and then began to transition into, you know, the horror host, obviously a little bit more lighthearted and comedic, and then that just became more and more his trait, and then that part of his personality started, you know, going into the haunted house. So now over the years, it's actually been a nice blend of both. So let's see. Kevin says, love the first appearance of Jack Shadow. Very good, Brian. You know that Jack Shadow and my horror host, Tara Vincent, would be great friends, LOL. I'm sure they would, Kevin. Absolutely. I see that on Instagram. I need to, you mentioned something about possibly being a guest on Chiller Chat to talk about that stuff. So if you're ever interested in doing that, drop me a message and we'll set something up. Get some pictures of Tara Vincent on here as well. Dan says, have you thought about going into syndication? That's there's a lot of horror fans out there. I have tried, Dan. I've really tried. I've gone through. Well, I'll tell you the steps I've taken. One is contacting WPXI. I went down. I had a meeting with them, and you know, when I left that day, I thought everything was, you know, greenlit, and then you know, that changed. It changed, and but you know, business is business, and we'll leave it at that. But also, what I've done is all these hundreds of TV stations. I don't know hundreds, but I mean tons of them. I've contacted each one individually about playing my show, and I have had the show playing on various TV stations over the years. The problem is, being just by myself, it's been too much to keep up with, you know, sending them new files every week. I mean, it's hard enough for me to keep up with, you know, what I'm doing now, you know. And if I had when we first started out, there was like a little crew, you know, there was much more people than just me, so it was a lot more easy to do. Otherwise, I don't know that I would have taken it on, because there's a lot to it, you know, and but that got to be too much. Even with PCTV 21 in Pittsburgh, the show was playing on there in 2016, I think, and then I started with Stream TV in 2017. But it was just too, you know, they wanted a disc. I couldn't send them a file, so they wanted discs, and it was just it just got overwhelming just with everything else I was trying to do. Write the episodes, edit the episodes, tape the episodes, and then to keep on that. It wasn't like they were just, okay, you have like 8 episodes, repeat, you know, there's another 8, and then I'll get you some more after this 16 weeks. No, you know, after 8, you got to send in 8 more discs, even if it's the same thing. I was like, that makes no sense to me. I've got no time for that. So it's, I guess the shorter answer, probably the better one I could have given is, it just, I didn't have enough time to keep up with it, you know, and so I've had to let there were TV stations playing it, I mean, literally coast to coast. So, and some sprinkled in between, but I literally just couldn't keep up with it, and so they just had to fade away. Now, if they're playing it, I don't know about it. I don't think that any stations other than Stream TV right now are playing it, other than I know on Chop Block's Roku channel, but other than that, probably not. But my thing was, you know, I would have loved to have been on WPXI. However, you know, we're living in a different era where it's not really necessary to do something like that. I mean, the Pittsburgh crowd would likely really like that, but you know, this method right here is probably the way to go for the here and now, you know, to do the internet. Because even when I was sending Dark Horse Championship Wrestling episodes to Erie for WICU, you know, that was kind of tough to keep up with too. So it's just, I just need a little crew, I think, a little ghoul crew or something. But we'll see where things go. But wow, it's 8:28. 8:28. Can you believe it? Well, folks, thanks a lot for joining me tonight and walking down memory lane a bit, showing Jack's origin into his death as a horror host on Sleepy Hollow Theater, and then into Chiller Night Theater. 13 years of Jack Shadow's horror host. 13 years. So, and we'll do this again next week for Chiller Chat's 13th year anniversary. So, looking good. All right. I think I'm all caught up on the comments. And with that, thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Have a good chiller night. We'll see you next week.
How many times do I have to tell you, just because something isn't good doesn't mean it's bad?